Hello, everyone. Welcome to Powwow Spanish Lessons. In today's lesson, we're going to continue our series on the anti-vaxxers in Spanish. And this is part 3 of a 5-part series. If you haven't already watched parts 1 and 2, make sure you go back and watch parts 1 and 2 so you can have the best understanding of this series. Let's get started. Here is our disclaimer. And here's our vocabulary. I'm going to pronounce each word twice in Spanish, and you can see the English definition beside the words. Here we go. Number 1, el coronavirus. El coronavirus. Number 2, COVID-19. COVID-19. Number 3, la vacuna. La vacuna. Number 4, la vacuna contra el COVID-19. La vacuna contra el COVID-19. Number 5, los antivacunas. Los antivacunas. Number 6, los mandatos. Los mandatos. Number 7, una inyección. Una inyección. Number 8, los efectos secundarios. Los efectos secundarios. Number 9, sacar. Sacar. Number 10, vacunarse. Vacunarse. Number 11, un brazo dolorido. Un brazo dolorido. Number 12, durar. Durar. Number 13, contra. Contra. And in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the word contra in Spanish. Let's get started. So, contra in Spanish means against. And this word can be used to refer to both physical or non physical items, things, or concepts. Think of the word contradict. This is where it comes from. Although it derived from Latin, it's used in Spanish in the same way. Now let's go over some examples of contra in Spanish. So here we have la vacuna contra el COVID-19. You're already familiar with this because this is one of our vocabulary words. And as I mentioned earlier in previous lessons, when you have the word referencing the vaccine or any form of it, you want to use contra and then the disease or the condition that is for. So you have la vacuna contra el COVID-19, the vaccine against COVID-19. Here's another example. So for contra, here we have la lucha contra la pobreza. This is the fight against poverty. So la lucha is the fight, and la pobreza is poverty in Spanish. And here is that example, la lucha contra la pobreza. And let's continue. All right, so we have another example. Now here we have apoyarse contra la pared. Again, apoyarse contra la pared. This means to lean oneself against a wall. And in this case, we have an image here. We have el hombre se apoya contra la pared. The man leans against a wall. Now, this is an example of contra being used to against something that is physical. Now we're going to go over the placement and how to put it together. All right, so in this example and in this particular slide, we're going to learn about where you place contra when you're using it in a sentence and how to form that sentence with contra in it to make it all come together. So now you have a verb or noun plus contra plus the item or thing that is against. So in this particular place, the good thing about this word contra is it's really simple to use. But whether you have a verb or noun in the beginning of the sentence, you just have to make sure that you have the verb or noun first, and then you have contra, and then you have the item that you are, or the thing that it is against. So in this case, using this example, we have apoyarse contra la pared, which is apoyarse is our verb, which means to lean oneself. And then we have contra, which is the word we're learning in this lesson. And then we have la pared, which is the wall. So you have apoyarse, to lean oneself, contra, against, la pared, the wall, to lean oneself against the wall. And then we have the noun form of this. So we've covered the verb form with apoyarse contra la pared, but now here is the noun and using contra in the same sentence. You have el hombre se apoya contra la pared. So we have el hombre for the man, and then se apoya. Apoyarse is a reflexive verb, so you have to conjugate it that way. And to reflect the man, in this case, is se apoya. And then you have contra la pared, against the wall. So you have el hombre se apoya contra la pared. Now, these are two ways of using contra. So you have, again, contra with the verb form, apoyarse contra la pared. And then you have the noun, el hombre se apoya contra la pared. All right, so now we will continue because we have some practice activities for you. So on the next few slides, you're going to be shown a few practice exercises, and I want you to follow the instructions on those exercises. Now, for these type of activities, you can use paper or you can do this in your head. Here we go. Let's get started. Here is our practice activity number 1. So in this particular activity, I want you to fill in the blank using the word contra. And I'll give you a few seconds to think of it. Here we go. All right, and here is the answer. La Serie Mundial es los Atlanta Bravos contra los Houston Astros. So, and this sentence is saying the World Series is the Atlanta Braves against the Houston Astros. And this can also be interpreted as versus as well. You could also say the World Series is the Atlanta Braves versus the Houston Astros. In this particular case, it's the same, but you can use contra here for against or versus here if it fits. Let's continue. All right, here's activity number 2. So now, using what you've learned already, I want you to create a phrase using the words below. And I'll give you a few seconds to put this together. All right, time's up. Now, here is the answer. So, now the answer here, you have two answers. You have Colombia contra Mexico, o, which is or, o is or in Spanish. You have Mexico contra Colombia. Either of these sentences are correct, or either of these phrases are correct. And I just put the soccer ball here so that you could see that this is relating to soccer. But the words here are Colombia and Mexico, and then you have the contra. All right, let's continue to our third and final practice exercise. Here we go. All right, so using what you've learned, create a phrase using contra combined with the words below in the word bank. And for this one, I'll give you 10 seconds to put it together. Here we go. All right. Okay, now time's up. Let's go to the answer. All right, here is the answer. We have apoyar la lucha contra el racismo. And that means to support the fight against racism. And if you put this together correctly, great job. Great job. And I know you may wonder here, you have apoyar. From a previous slide, we had apoyarse, which meant to lean oneself. So I'll explain this briefly. Apoyar by itself means to support. Now, when you put that as a reflexive verb, when you have the apoyarse, that means to support oneself. And so when you're supporting yourself, in this case, if you go back to our previous example here, right here, we have apoyarse. This is where the man was leaning against the wall. If you think about it, he's supporting himself against the wall, or he's leaning against the wall. So that's why the reflexive verb makes a difference, especially when you have that say afterwards for the verb. So taking out the say, you would just have apoyar, which means to support. But when you add the say in there, that makes it a reflexive verb. And that means that the action is being done on that person. They're doing that action on themselves. So like this man is supporting himself. And so that's why the verb meaning changes when you go from apoyar to apoyarse. All right, and this concludes the end of the lesson. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Feel free to shoot me any questions, comments, or anything that you have at isapowwow@gmail.com. And also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And join the mailing list because we do have a lot of information coming out for learning Spanish and other languages as well. Thank you and have a great day.